darlings is a popular piece of advice in the world of professional writing, which encourages authors to, however painstakingly, remove elements of their work for the sake of their overall story. When we apply this concept to our creations as video editors, this can mean removing unnecessary scenes from our videos, trimming our favourite clips a little shorter, deleting those carefully crafted shot sequences, or removing titles and effects that don't add to the story we're telling. To kill your darlings is to be succinct as creatives, where we cut out material that isn't essential in driving our story forward. Although many writers have been credited with coining the phrase, it can be traced back to the British writer Sir Arthur Quiller Couch. In his 1916 book titled On the Art of Writing, he states, "If you here require a practical rule of me, I will present you with this. Whenever you feel an impulse to perpetrate a piece of exceptionally fine writing, obey it wholeheartedly and delete it before sending your manuscript to press. Murder your darlings." The more you force yourself to kill your darlings, that scene, that clip, that awesome transition that just isn't serving a purpose, the more you'll remain focused on what's important, the story and the underlying message of your video. Whether you want to entertain, educate or inspire your viewer, make sure each scene pushes the story forward. Ask yourself, what is this clip, sequence shot or entire portion of my video adding to the storyline as a whole? If you're shrugging your shoulders when you watch it back and don't really know, question whether you really need it in your video. If this is tricky for you to do, ask someone else to watch your story with fresh eyes, preferably a person not involved in the production. Ask them what they thought about not only the video as a whole, but if there were any moments that felt unnecessary to them or if any point they got bored or distracted. With that in mind, be sure not to drag out a scene a bit too long. Now, we've all been guilty of this at times, and it's important not to cut a scene too tightly, but if the audience is thinking, yeah, that's nice, we get it, let's move on, then you need to start trimming back your media to prevent over-explaining the point you're trying to make and therefore ruining the scene. Additionally, just because you can do something on the timeline doesn't always mean you should. Adding effects, transitions, movement and quirky titles is of course fun to do, but anything you add to your story should serve a purpose. Of course, it can be challenging to let go of material that we're particularly proud of or often quite attached to, but killing your darlings is an essential part of editing. Without it, you risk being left with a story lacking structure with too many distracting parts, which ultimately isn't going to engage your viewer. So remember, your audience are not seeing your editing timeline. They're watching your content hoping to become immersed in the story. So anything that doesn't add to that has to go. If, however, you just can't bring yourself to let go, rather than kill your darlings, why not rehome them? Anything that doesn't work as part of your core story can be repurposed and brought onto a new timeline for a separate creation. This might look like a social post advertising your main video, a bit of micro content like a trailer that draws audiences in. Or perhaps you can use a discarded piece of dialogue as part of a podcast episode. Think outside the box here and get creative with the material that you have. So guys, it's time to get ruthless and become comfortable with the cutting room floor. Trim, cut and discard anything that doesn't make your story shine. That's all from us for this week, but join us next time for more tips, tricks and techniques from the LumaTouch Academy. See you soon.